days ago, Margaret and I had a great treat. There is a new movie that's just been released. It hasn't had a great deal of publicity, but you've got to see it. It is called The Most Reluctant Convert. It's the story of C.S. Lewis's early life and is based on his spiritual biography, Surprised by Joy. It is beautifully done. I guess it will be issued on video and DVD and that kind of thing soon. You've got to see it. Now, if you don't know the story of C.S. Lewis, let me just tell you that Lewis, for the early part of his life, was a committed atheist, dogmatic atheist, convinced atheist. But for years, he sensed the approach of God, that he did everything to resist. And the title of that movie, The Most Reluctant Convert, is actually Lewis's own words. And let me read you the bit from Surprised by Joy, where he beautifully and movingly tells of the moment of his conversion. Listen, he says, "You must picture me alone in that room in Magdalen." By the way, our daughter went to Magdalen College, and her best friend had the room that C.S. Lewis was in that night in Magdalen College. Makes me cry just to think about it. Anyhow, you must picture me alone in that room in Magdalen night after night, feeling, whenever my mind lifted even for a second from my work, the steady, unrelenting approach of him with a capital H, him whom I so earnestly desired not to meet. Then that which I greatly feared had at last come upon me. Listen to this. In the Trinity term of 1929, I gave in. And I admitted that God was God. And I knelt and prayed. Perhaps that night, the most dejected and reluctant convert in all England. And then he adds this. Oh, I love this. I did not then see what is now the most shining and obvious thing, the divine humility which will accept a convert even on such terms. The prodigal son, C.S. Lewis says, the prodigal son at least walked home on his own 2 feet. But who can duly adore that love which will open the high gates of heaven to a prodigal who is brought in kicking and struggling and resentful, darting his eyes in every direction for a chance of escape? Isn't that glorious? I've heard preachers say, until you get to the point where you are unreservedly open your heart to Jesus, nothing happens. It's not true, because on that basis, there would be lots of us who would still not know Jesus. He is so gracious that even when we grudgingly give him a little bit, he comes in. Hey, guys in the worship,